Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on May 6, 2022 at approximately 6:40 a.m. PST. Well, a couple of days ago, we talked about the concept of having to have a purpose in order to turn your life around. Now, this is not something that somebody else says you must do or you should do. This is what you are drawn to. This is the heartfelt purpose. If you don't have that feeling here, you're likely to run into some pretty serious complications. Now, that is the first step. Yeah. Now, that is the first step that you have to take a look at. Okay. The second step, the second part of the formula, and like I said, I am going to be going into a lot more detail with these, but this is a book I am currently working, one of the many books I'm currently working on. Okay, the second step in drawing success to yourself and co-creating that success in your life is you have to have a plan. Now, this is not a plan by anybody that is approved by anybody except you. Now, this plan, you have to look at, you've got to know what the end game is, in one sense. And the only sense is, what do you define success as? As we can see, speech is not being my friend today, but this is a live recording, which means when I get done this, I double check the date and then I post it as is. Now, I came back to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to pass on a very simple message to everybody in existence. Working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Okay, but it is going to take individual effort. And when we're talking about individual success, you've got to have a plan. Now, you really don't have to have a detailed plan of where it's going. What you've got to know is what you identify as success. Now, in the short term, my success for me boiled down to getting my office set up. That was and people talk about little wins, about small successes, and yay, you did something right. Okay, these are imperative, but the way to get to that success is very simple. Take a look at what your goal is. Doesn't matter how small or how big it is. Now, here's an example. Okay, my first step was to get my office running properly. Okay, to get a computer set up so that I could actually operate. So I could work within the 21st century confines. Now, there's a whole lot of problems that we're going to start getting into pretty quick. Okay, but that was the first one. But here's the end game. Okay, I know this is going to sound absolutely insane when you think about the fact that I think I've got somewhere in the neighborhood of about 4 months of living expenses available to me without causing a problem. Okay. Now, I'm going to be doing this one step at a time, but you take a look at that. I've got 4 months of living expenses available to me, right? Without causing a major problem. In all fairness, probably only 3. Okay. Now, that being said, that means I've got in my possession that I've got ready access to. Okay, and I use the term ready access considering part of it is on credit cards and they could pull the plug like they did on one card. Okay, without warning. And all of a sudden I don't have that. So here I am. Yes, I'm sitting comfortably. I'm not worried about a lot of things in that respect. But here's the end game. I am going to be building. I am aiming at building an empire, as it were, and building an actual recovery center. A full-sized, and I've got the basic floor plan, the basic design laid out. I've already got the management superstructure laid out. This is an end game for me. Now, whether I ever manage to get there depends on a lot of things. That's one of my big goals, and that's the one sitting way up here at the top of way at the top of the mountain. But in order to get there, the first step was to get my office, the brain of my house and home, in order. Okay. Now there's a neat little thing there. There's an old saying, and it seems to hold pretty true, that the state of your primary living space or your primary workspace is a reflection of your mind, of the state of your mind. Now, with this in mind, it stands to reason in my eyes that the state of your mind also is a direct influence on the state of the primary living place or primary workspace. Okay. Now, so what that means is if your cerebral cortex, if you yourself are not thinking clearly, then getting the brain of your house and home, your office, working properly is going to be complicated. Not impossible, but it is going to be complicated. Now, in this respect, I love the saying, and I believe it's attributed to the American military. The difficult we're already doing. The impossible simply takes a little longer. Now, when we talk about a plan, you have to look at the small things. And the whole trick to it is this. I know what I'm aiming for. Okay, but in order to get there, I don't have to know how to get there. I have to know what am I dealing with in the here and now. Am I content with the way my life is going? I've got this great big goal. Okay, much like this smaller goal. No, that's not the one. This one. This smaller goal. The Yldrbacian Chronicles. This is a 12-volume set that I am looking at another 10 books coming out. The first two I've already got. Okay. But you have to take a look at what you're working on and ask yourself, with what I'm working on, am I content with it? Is everything flowing in that direction? If not, that's where you start changing things. You start changing. The first part of the plan is alter the path of everything around you that you have direct control over in order to eliminate the negative side effects, the negative things that are happening. Okay, if something is holding you up, for instance, striving to get your office straightened out. You may have stuff on your desk, like I've got stuff on my desk that I don't require right now. Okay, but it all has places to go. So when you do that, okay, now here's the neat thing. Okay, when you deal with this sort of thing, you take a look at whatever is holding you back, whatever is not flowing properly. If water is not flowing properly in a stream, move the clutter out of the stream, the water runs fine. Same thing with your plan. The basic rule of a plan is this. Find what is holding it up and change that item. You may have to change it again. You may have to change it several times. But you're taught that change is dangerous, change is difficult, change is scary, etc., etc. Point in fact, if you're not writhing on the ground in fear right now while I'm talking to you, okay, every word that I utter, every word you utter to other people, every thought you have is change. So unless you're writhing on the ground now in panic and fear, then apparently change isn't that difficult. You've got to deprogram yourself. And this is one of the biggest reasons why, with regards to this healing center I just mentioned, starting on Monday, we're going to focus on one very simple issue, and that is unity. Okay, if the people on this planet do not start working together, the outcome is already pretty much laid out. People talk about preordained. Well, it's not so much preordained, but if you don't have a plan on how to get to success, there's an old saying that goes, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. Okay, but the problem with that is that people look at it going, I can put it off until tomorrow. And you absolutely can. But right at this moment, this is the only time in existence that you can alter the path your life is on. And no matter who you are, no matter what you're up to, okay, no matter what your background, you're right here, right now. Even if you postpone things because somebody else said you have to, or you can't do that, or whatever, even if you postpone it until a decade down the road, when you finally get to that decade down the road and you do something, it is right here, right now. And that is the backbone of understanding how a plan works. Take a look at the stuff around you. Now, here's an interesting situation. Okay. At least I find it an interesting situation. Now, this is that neat little sign that I've shown so many times that works like an absolute charm. Now, as I said, I only require $2,500 in order to run my household. Pretty inexpensive compared to some of you, but the reality is it doesn't matter how much money you have. The odds are you're living the same style that I am. You've got a certain amount of things that you desire to do, a certain amount of places you desire to go, certain type of food that you like to eat or that you're willing to tolerate eating. Okay, but you're living within, hopefully, you're living within your budget. My suspicion is you're not. I know I wasn't, but this neat little statement here. We have legally acquired a minimum of $3,800 by May 31st, 2022, at 1 minute to midnight. Okay, now that being said, the reason I say we, just to make it simple for you for everybody else, is I'm talking about my household, and since I live with my son, he's part of that we. Okay, now Inner Voice Enterprises has legally generated a minimum of $700 by May 31st, 2022. Now, here's the kicker. That 700 fits inside the 38. Okay, meaning this is what my business has to generate, and included in this 700, or more to the point, included in this 3,800, is $700. Right, which means I only need to generate $3,100 for me personally in order for me to reach that monthly goal. Now, that's the first thing. Okay, and I've told you so many times about those 4 words. I am worth it. Those 4 words are the strongest combination I've run into in any language this lifetime. And when I think back over the past lifetimes, I don't recall a time when there were 4 words that were better. Okay, that were more effective. Plus, when you take a look at it, okay, I only follow 3 laws. And compare these laws to the ones you follow. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Now, if you take a look at those 3 laws, which are the only 3 I pay attention to, but compare them to yours, and you'll find I do believe that every one of the laws you live by will fit inside those 3. And yes, I'm including things like the 10 Commandments. Okay, like the guidance of the teachings of, or the teachings of Buddha fit in there quite nicely. When you start looking at the Quran, the Cree Nation, the Wiccan Bible, the Bible of the Witches, the Church of Satan, when you take a look at all of those guidelines, including the guidelines for AA, NA, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, okay, all of these support groups all operate inside those 3 laws. If you can find one that doesn't, please let me know in the comments below or drop me a private line. Okay. Now, this is a question of part of the plan that I have to build this healing center. Okay. is to let people understand that that it does not matter to me where you come from. I will treat you the same way as I treat everybody else. Now, admittedly, I'm not perfect. I'm still working on the issue that I run into with my temper when it comes to dealing with stupidity. Now, I call it stupidity when you know better and you do it anyway. Okay, and I will get into some of that in a while. Probably not today, but Lord knows. But here's the other thing. Now, the Yldrbacian Chronicles, okay, are a massive work. Okay, when I'm done, they will be approximately 4,800 pages in the entire saga. Unlike Tolstoy's War and Peace, I won't be doing it in one book. It'll be done in 12 volumes. Now, I ended up, and this is just a little bonus insight, this little book. As it turns out, the races in this book are ones I've personally dealt with. And you don't have to believe me, that's okay. Because there's a neat little question that comes up even to me. Did that book come because of my imagination? Or did my imagination come because of what I physically have gone through? Now, I've got enough corroborating evidence, and only verbal. I do not have physical evidence. But the plan that I was working on to build this healing center meant I had to get a number of things dealt with. Now, I finally got a printer, okay, that is working. And here's the thing I told you a while ago I was going to do. Okay, I actually have pictures. I have illustrations and pictures that are going to be going in that book. Okay, now this neat little character here. Okay, this is a Muldog. One of the primary complications in the Yldrbacian Chronicles. This is one of the races that will be included in the second printing of the Races of the Worlds. But this is also one of the races from the Chronicles. Okay, which means the Races of the Worlds is works very much as an addendum to the Chronicles. It works as a reference manual for you. Well, for me. Now, in order to get everything working, you've got to have a plan, and that boils down to recognizing that you're not content with the way your life currently is. And frankly, if you're still listening to me after all this time, you're not entirely content with the way your life is going. So the plan is simple. Again, I prefer keeping things simple. Take a look at what you're not content with. Like, for instance, the fact that I've got a dusting rag sitting over there, that red thing over there. Where is it? Right there. Okay, that shouldn't be there. Which means the next time I leave my office, which ought to be in about 10, 15 minutes here, as soon as I do that, that thing will end up going away. Okay. And it really boils down to an issue of figure out how to get rid of the clutter so that everything you're working towards can work towards that plan of success. Okay, but the plan boils down to really understanding whether or not you're content with your life. If you're content with your life, then you're probably not listening to me. Because frankly, there are times I look at it going, I keep telling myself I got to do things. And I feel like I'm talking to dead ears, even when I'm talking to me. Because I've proven time and again that I'm a professional procrastinator. I can put things off like there is no tomorrow. And in all fairness, tomorrow never gets here anyway. But with that in mind, I do have a very succinct plan, and the tools that I offer here are the same tools I personally use, the same philosophies of life that I personally live by. Okay. And by doing that, I can eliminate and not only can I eliminate the clutter in my life and eliminate the things that are holding back my success, I am absolutely confident that I can do the same thing for you. I can offer you the tools. I can explain how they work time and time again. And I can tell you if you're having troubles with a concept, drop me a mention in the comments below, or drop me a line at one of the contact points below this video. Okay, absolutely. Drop me a line, let me know. Okay, I will do my best to answer. And considering I've been working in the consulting field now for, well, I'll be 59 in a week and a half here. Not even. Today's the 5th. No, yeah. Wait a minute. No, today's the 6th. Okay, gives you an idea. So I will be 59 in a week. Okay. And with that in mind, I've been charging, I was looking at my business going, I've been doing this for, 40 years. Well, 45 years now, working in this field. So do I have a background in it? Yep. Dealing with personal, dealing with business, dealing with alien technologies, cultures, interactions, but dealing with all of that. Okay, but I was charging $180 an hour to sit and talk to me. Now, I talk to people for free all the time, but from a business standpoint, if I leave the house, from a business standpoint, I was charging $180 an hour. Okay, well, literally at the beginning of this month, while everything else is jumping in price, I have just sheared my cost. Okay, I've sheared my hourly cost from 180 to $90 an hour. Okay, now the reality is I work face to face. Okay, that's just plain reality. I do work on a phone line as well, but I happen to have a job that works on the phone line. Okay, so that's why I work face to face when I'm dealing with people. And yeah, that does limit the amount of room, but you've got to have a plan. The plan where it comes to my actually building this and this healing center, okay, is literally to build up enough of a backlog of income using my writing and my consulting as a way of doing it. Writing, consulting, and work as a way of generating that. Okay. And the real kicker to it is by doing that, using the tools that I offer here, I'm going to attain that. At least that's where I'm shooting. If I die before I get it done, so be it. Okay, but for the moment, that's where it is. Now, considering I laid the plans out, the corporate plans for this, as in put them on paper and went, here's where the profit sharing comes. And do understand, when I talk about profit sharing, I do it now. Okay, but I profit share with net profit. Okay, because the way I figure it, if I don't cover my bills first, I don't have a line that I can work with. Okay, now with regards to this recovery center, some of you are going to look at it going, that's a great idea, and will be, you can build a corporation, you can make a nonprofit society to make it work. The answer is no. I will not set up a corporation because of one primary reason. My current understanding of corporations is that a board of directors can fire the owner. Okay, I won't take that chance. I don't trust people well enough to take that chance. Okay, will I have a board of advisors? Absolutely. And those I am absolutely actively seeking. Okay, people that can help take what I'm looking at, take that vision, and without altering the vision, they can help me find a way to make it happen. The vision itself will alter of its own accord at my own hand anyway. Okay, but when you take a look at the overall picture, I'm looking at a healing center where you have education, where you have healing techniques that may not be run of the mill. Okay, and this is where the whole catch is going to be when I start dealing with that. Is obviously there are regulations that have to be followed, which means we're not talking about a traditional hospital where people will come in and operations will be performed. Okay, the reason I won't go there is because there's too many regulations that don't make sense. Okay. I won't, I mean, will it require money to do it? The answer is yes, absolutely. Okay, but money is not always money. Money, there is something called money in kind. But when you're building a plan, and this is where this little issue here comes in. Okay, this list of different, that's not the list, I don't have a start for today. But I talk about, this isn't the list. But you take a sheet of paper, or a computer works just as well. Start off with 3 goals. Okay, but keep those goals down to 15-minute to half-hour tasks. When you get one finished, check it off. Okay, and then put a third one at the bottom again. This is where it all starts, but it's up to you to make this happen. Okay, this is society is going down a real black path right now. And on Monday, I'm going to end up painting out just how black that path is. Then we're going to start looking at how to turn it around. But it's going to require the efforts of virtually everyone in existence. Now, some of you are going to fall by the wayside and go, I really desire, I want the money. I want to be at the top of the game because I feel I deserve to be, to be looked up upon instead of trodden upon because I've had a lousy life. Well, I can't do anything, and nobody can do anything about the life you've had. Okay, whatever brought you to where you are now, that is what makes you who you are. So we can't change that, but you can certainly change the path that your life is on now. I had one client that was on the street for 10 years. And she actually, I think it was closer to 20. But anyway, she told me that she was forced onto the street. And by the time I got finished with her, like I told her, I says, no, you were not forced onto the street. Your situation was one that you could have done a few different things, but you chose to go on the street and live your way. That was you taking control. Now, I'm not going to say your first 40 years of your life were not garbage. They probably were. But I will tell you, and this applies to you as well, the rest of your life, starting right here, right now, is up to you. Are you going to continue looking at the past and seeing how poorly you've been treated, or how badly you've been treated, how misinformed you've been kept? Are you going to hang on to that, or are you going to go, I'm done, I'm moving forward? That's the point I reached. Now, I hope that you reach that point before you're my age. Okay, some of you have already exceeded my age and are still at that point. And my goal with these videos is to help you see that you don't have to keep going down that road no matter how long you've been on it. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to let you go because we're at the half-hour mark. So if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel. And please share these messages with everyone in existence that you meet. Now, I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.